Most people don't realize that waking up in the middle of the night isn't just bad luck or part of aging, it's your body sending you a message. You see, true deep sleep is a biological necessity, and yet millions of people over 50 suffer from fragmented, low-quality sleep. You fall asleep just fine, but then somewhere between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., your eyes open, you're alert, you toss, you turn, and then your mind starts racing. Why is this happening? Well, the truth is, it's rarely just about too much stress or too much screen time. It goes deeper into how your body regulates blood sugar, cortisol, and core temperature throughout the night. And for most people, those systems are out of sync. Let's talk about blood sugar first. When you eat your last meal too early or eat a carb-heavy dinner without enough healthy fats and proteins, your blood sugar drops too low in the middle of the night. And guess what your body does when it senses a blood sugar crisis while you're asleep? It activates cortisol, the very hormone designed to keep you alert, awake, and ready to survive. So while you're trying to get rest, your body is trying to wake you up to go hunt for food. That's evolutionary biology working against your modern lifestyle. Then comes core temperature. Deep sleep demands that your body cools down. It's part of your circadian rhythm, a cycle governed by your brain's suprachiasmatic nucleus and driven by light, temperature, and hormones like melatonin. But if your core body temperature fluctuates too much overnight, either because your environment is too cold, too hot, or because you've consumed something like cold water or alcohol before bed, it can jolt you awake during those deep stages of rest. Cold water especially cools the core too aggressively when consumed right before bed, which seems harmless but can disrupt that delicate internal temperature balance. Add cortisol spikes on top of that, and you've got a recipe for a restless night. Cortisol is meant to be highest in the morning. It helps you wake up. But for many people, the peak shifts earlier and starts rising during the night instead. This isn't random. It's often triggered by poor blood sugar regulation or stress that was never resolved during the day. And when cortisol starts climbing, while melatonin is supposed to be dominant, your brain loses the ability to stay asleep. Now, here's where the problem becomes more subtle and more dangerous. Most people think the solution is to drink water during the night or right before bed to stay hydrated. It seems harmless, but drinking plain water, especially cold water, right before bed can make things worse. It cools the core too much and activates the kidneys, making your body feel like it's time to wake up and eliminate, not sleep deeply. Worse, plain water can dilute critical electrolytes like magnesium and potassium, which are essential for calming the nervous system and supporting the electrical signals needed for deep restorative sleep. That's why we need to stop thinking of sleep as something that happens to us and start treating it as something we prepare for, just like a performance or a workout. Just as athletes prime their bodies for optimal performance, we need to prime our physiology for optimal sleep. It starts with understanding your body's signals. If you're waking up at the same time every night, it's not random. It's likely tied to a blood sugar crash, a core temperature shift, or a cortisol spike, and each of these can be prevented with intentional action before bed. You deserve deep sleep. Not the kind of restless, fragmented sleep that leaves you exhausted the next day, but the kind that allows your nervous system to recover, your brain to reset, and your hormones to regulate. But it starts by listening to what your body is telling you every time you wake up at 2:30 in the morning, wide-eyed and confused. That is not aging. That is dysfunction, and it can be reversed. Understanding these hidden factors is the first step toward reclaiming your nights and your energy. When it comes to sleep, the answer often isn't in another pill or another gadget. It's in how we support our brain and body in the hours before we go to bed. One of the most overlooked yet powerful tools in optimizing sleep isn't what you avoid, but what you consume. And yes, I'm talking about a specific drink. Something far more effective than plain water at night. A drink that calms your nervous system, stabilizes your blood sugar, and sets the stage for real, deep, uninterrupted sleep. This isn't about sedatives or over-the-counter sleep aids that knock you out but rob you of true restorative rest. It's about understanding how certain natural compounds combined in the right way send a clear message to your brain. It's time to relax, restore, and let go. The drink we're talking about has been studied in neuroscience and sleep labs. It works by supporting the body's melatonin production, reducing cortisol levels, and enhancing the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest and digestion. One of the most critical ingredients in this sleep-promoting drink is glycine. Glycine is a simple amino acid, but it has profound effects on the brain. Studies show that glycine not only reduces the time it takes to fall asleep, but it also improves sleep quality and reduces nighttime awakenings. It helps lower core body temperature in a gentle, natural way without the shock that cold water introduces. That's crucial because a slight drop in core body temperature is necessary for the body to enter deep sleep. Now let's add magnesium, specifically magnesium glycinate or citrate. Magnesium helps regulate over 300 enzymatic processes in the body, but it plays a starring role in sleep because of how it influences the GABA system. GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain. In simpler terms, it's the chemical that tells your neurons to slow down, stop firing, and rest. Magnesium boosts GABA's activity, allowing your mind to quiet and your body to release tension. Then there's collagen peptides, another subtle yet powerful addition. Collagen isn't just good for skin and joints. It's rich in amino acids like proline and hydroxyproline, which support tissue repair and also contribute to the body's nighttime metabolic functions. When collagen is consumed as part of a warm drink, it also provides a gentle, satisfying feeling in the gut, telling the body it's safe, nourished, and ready to wind down. But the real magic comes when these ingredients are delivered in a warm base, such as almond milk or herbal tea, something comforting, familiar, and naturally calming. Unlike water, which often triggers urination and dilutes electrolytes, a warm, nutrient-rich sleep drink signals the body to shift into parasympathetic mode. This is the mode that's essential for sleep, digestion, and recovery. It's the opposite of the stress-driven fight-or-flight state. There's also an element of psychology and habit here. When you make a nightly ritual out of drinking something warm and calming, free of sugar, free of caffeine, full of purpose, you're training your nervous system to respond. You're creating an association. When I drink this, it's time to sleep. Over time, your body begins to anticipate deep rest the moment the cup touches your lips. So many people overlook this. They hydrate with water, they take a supplement, they scroll on their phone, and then they wonder why they're staring at the ceiling 2 hours later. The problem isn't that their body can't sleep, it's that they're not giving it the right cues. Sleep isn't just a passive process. It's a neurochemical shift, one that can be guided with the right choices. And this specific drink, it's not a gimmick. It's a scientifically informed way to gently steer the body and brain toward a state of calm. When you provide your system with the building blocks it needs, glycine, magnesium, collagen, a warm carrier, you're not sedating it, you're supporting it. You're allowing it to do what it was designed to do: restore, repair, and rejuvenate. And when that happens, you don't just sleep, you heal. When people struggle with sleep, their first instinct is often to look for something to knock them out: a pill, a supplement, a heavy meal. But what many don't realize is that one of the biggest culprits behind poor sleep might be what they're drinking right before bed. You see, water seems innocent. We're told to stay hydrated, to drink plenty of fluids throughout the day. But drinking plain water late at night, especially in the final hour before bed, can actually disrupt your body's natural sleep chemistry more than it helps. And when you replace it with a more tailored drink, something your body can actually use to support relaxation, you shift from struggling with sleep to experiencing deep, effortless rest. Here's what happens when you drink water before bed. You hydrate, yes, but you also stimulate your kidneys, which are now being told to stay active. That leads to nocturia, waking up to urinate. And this isn't just an inconvenience. Each time you wake up, your brain is pulled out of deep sleep and into light sleep or full alertness. Over time, this can fragment your rest so much that you never reach the deeper stages where growth hormone is released, where your brain consolidates memory, and where your immune system is rebuilt. Even more importantly, plain water lacks electrolytes, which are critical to maintaining proper neural conductivity and muscle relaxation during the night. Water that's not balanced with sodium, potassium, magnesium, or calcium can actually dilute these minerals, leading to imbalances that cause restlessness, leg cramps, and anxiety. So while you think you're helping your body wind down, you may be pushing it into a subtle state of stress or activation. Now let's look at the opposite scenario, when you replace that water with a targeted, sleep-enhancing drink. Something warm, with a bit of flavor, and loaded with nutrients your nervous system thrives on. Instead of waking your kidneys or diluting minerals, this drink nourishes your system, gently lowers your core temperature, and promotes the biochemical processes needed for true, uninterrupted sleep. What's happening here is that you're engaging the body's parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest and digest. This is the direct counter to the fight-or-flight response that many people carry into the evening without realizing. That sleep drink, made with the right combination of glycine, magnesium, healthy fats, or adaptogenic herbs, signals to the brain that it's time to switch gears. You're moving out of the stress state and into recovery mode. And that's where the real transformation happens. As you sleep, your body doesn't just rest, it performs an entire internal cleanse. Toxins are flushed from the brain, your nervous system recalibrates, and cellular repair is initiated. But none of that can happen efficiently if your sleep is broken every 90 minutes by a need to urinate, or if your mineral balance is so low that your muscles can't fully relax. Furthermore, the act of drinking something warm and intentional becomes a behavioral anchor, a form of conditioning. Over time, your brain begins to associate the taste, smell, and temperature of this specific drink with sleep onset. It becomes a powerful cue that prepares the mind to release tension and let go of the day. People often underestimate the role of ritual in sleep, but your nervous system is highly responsive to patterns. A healthy, sleep-promoting night drink, taken consistently around the same time each evening, can become the most powerful part of your routine. It stabilizes blood sugar, prevents nighttime cortisol spikes, supports GABA production, and ensures that the minerals needed for neurotransmission and muscle function are present in the bloodstream. So when you choose to replace plain water with something more strategic, you're not just making a small dietary change, you're reprogramming your entire sleep architecture. You're telling your body, it's safe now, you can rest, you are supported. And that simple change, night after night, becomes the foundation for better energy, improved brain function, and deeper resilience. Real restorative sleep isn't a mystery. It's the result of intentional science-based choices made in the hours before bed. And replacing water with the right drink could be the one shift that unlocks the kind of deep sleep you thought was gone forever. You can have the best ingredients in the world, but if you don't use them at the right time in the right way, you're not going to get the full benefit, especially when it comes to sleep. This is where so many people go wrong. They hear about a sleep drink or a nighttime tonic and immediately start throwing things together, hoping it'll knock them out. But sleep doesn't work like that. It's a delicate, deeply regulated process governed by your nervous system, your circadian rhythm, and your internal chemistry. And if you want a drink that truly helps you sleep, not just fall asleep, but stay asleep, you need to get 3 things right: timing, temperature, and ingredients. Let's start with timing. Your body operates on a circadian rhythm, an internal clock that tells you when to feel alert and when to wind down. That clock is regulated by light, temperature, and certain hormone fluctuations, mainly cortisol and melatonin. Cortisol rises in the morning and falls at night. Melatonin rises in the evening to help prepare the brain and body for sleep. If you drink your sleep-enhancing beverage too late, you might disrupt that balance, causing your body to enter the sleep window too late or with incomplete preparation. If you drink it too early, the effects might wear off before you're even in bed. The ideal time to consume a sleep drink is about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. That gives the body time to begin absorbing the nutrients, metabolizing them into useful forms, and signaling the brain to begin winding down. It also allows time for a ritual. You're not just dumping a solution into your stomach, you're signaling to your mind, the day is done and recovery is beginning. That matters. Ritual matters. The brain thrives on patterns. When you start consistently drinking a warm, targeted beverage at the same time each night, your nervous system begins to anticipate relaxation even before the ingredients kick in chemically. Next is temperature. This is often overlooked, but it's critical. When you drink cold water or any cold beverage at night, you actually raise your core alertness. Your body has to expend energy to warm that fluid up, and this process creates a subtle thermogenic response. That's the opposite of what you want when preparing for sleep. Deep sleep is triggered when the core body temperature begins to drop slightly. A warm beverage, ideally around 100–110 degrees Fahrenheit, mimics this process and supports the thermoregulation needed for melatonin release and deep rest. It also helps your muscles relax, calms the vagus nerve, and triggers the parasympathetic response that we've talked about earlier. Now let's talk ingredients. Not all sleep drinks are created equal, and not all ingredients are helpful when combined together. The best sleep drinks are low in sugar, free from caffeine, and contain compounds that directly support the brain and nervous system at night. A good formula might include glycine, an amino acid that lowers core body temperature and calms the brain. Magnesium, preferably glycinate, helps activate GABA and reduces muscle tension. Collagen peptides, not just for skin but for nighttime metabolic repair. Ashwagandha, or L-theanine, optional, for added relaxation and cortisol reduction. You want to avoid ingredients like chocolate, even raw cacao, heavy fats, or high sugar sources. While they may seem comforting, they can stimulate insulin, disrupt sleep cycles, and spike cortisol levels in the middle of the night. Keep it simple. Keep it clean. Think function over flavor. And use a non-dairy milk base like almond milk, oat milk, or warm herbal tea for a gentle sleep-supporting experience. Another often overlooked point is consistency. One night of doing it right won't change your sleep patterns. But doing this every single night, even on weekends, trains your body to recognize a pattern. You're not just helping your body sleep tonight, you're training it to sleep better for the rest of your life. It becomes automatic. You crave the warmth, the ritual, the calm it brings. And with that, your brain learns to let go, your muscles loosen, your stress melts away. This small habit, done well, can outperform expensive supplements, blue light blockers, and even many prescription sleep aids, because it works with your biology, not against it. And once you master the timing, temperature, and ingredients, sleep becomes not something you chase, but something that comes to you naturally, night after night.